it's a powerful tool, but you really have to be careful I think using these things, thinking is even more important, because if you just accept what comes back, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You have to have judgment. You have to have context to know if what it's telling you even makes sense.
Yeah. Or is applicable.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You mentioned perception and then just now judgment. I think it's interesting. You know, you and I have had conversations on and offline, and you have conversations with your clients all the time about their unique value proposition or what problem they're trying to solve and their unique place. And the conversation now in the landscape of all businesses, but certainly in creative businesses, is what is your unique value prop going to be when someone can go on, you know, Chat GPT and create their own thumbnails? Why do they need to hire a designer for that? And I think our you know, the reason why I use a company like Core Group rather than just some AI bot to balance all my books and file my taxes for me, which I'm sure is coming, is because of your perspective, your judgment, and your experience. And I think that that's an interesting shift that we're having to make, obviously, like worldwide, culturally speaking, but even more specifically in our fields, working with creative professionals, of my unique value prop is the perspective, experience, and judgment that I bring. It's not necessarily what I do for you anymore. It's more about thought leadership. How have you seen that play out?
Well, I'm not really trying to hump Chris Lockhead, but the guy is just brilliant. He wrote an article recently about how, or his AI did, I don't know, is that you know, the age of the knowledge worker is gone, and that's been where we've been for the last 60, 70 years. I don't remember who coined the phrase. It may have been Maxwell, but it's been, you know, prevalent all of my adult life, where, you know, we've essentially moved from the industrial age to, you know, the age of the knowledge worker. And the problem is that the knowledge has been commoditized, democratized. Anybody can know anything, but it's the same thing of watching a bunch of golf videos and actually going out and playing golf, right? There's no substitute for the experience.
Yeah.
Because the experience gives you the context and judgment to say, does this even make sense?
Because we all watch that and we're like, I could do that.
That's easy, right? Look at it.
And then you get out there and you swing a golf ball and it dribbles, you know, 30 yards to the left, and that's
I've hooked it so hard right it hit the cart, and my partner was in it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've done that many times. Yeah. Many times.
Yeah, that was an embarrassing moment. So I don't know. You know, maybe we're moving into the age of the judgment, the experience worker. Maybe, you know, those words are more applicable now, because there's where the value is. Yeah. Because the knowledge is ubiquitous. It's free.
Yep.
What do you do with it?
Yeah, and also the application too, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, we talk all the time, and this is nothing new again, but we talk about, you know, giving your stuff away, giving away your frameworks, giving away your methodologies, giving all that stuff away. And, you know, to someone who's young in business, they're like, well, I can't give that away. That's the secret sauce. Like, if I give that away, then people will just do it on their own. And I go, no one's doing it on their own. They're training AI agents to maybe do it on their own, to do it like for them, but no one's doing it on their own. And so the reason they come to people like Core Group or Chief Creative is because, yes, they can do all the things that we're doing because the knowledge is out there, right? It all exists out there in the ether. They can listen to Christian Brim podcast, they can listen to my podcast, they can read books, they can all that stuff. They can go, I could probably figure this out myself. They probably can, but they don't have the time for it. And time is the commodity that we just can't get back. It's the one thing that's burning constantly. And so what we do with our time every single day matters, I think, now more than ever.
Yes. And I think, the conversations I've had on my podcast, and you've probably heard me say this, is that the shift for a lot of creatives that's really making them uncomfortable is like, I learned a skill. I'm a designer. I'm a videographer. I'm a copywriter. I'm like whatever. And then all of a sudden, it's like people aren't buying that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or they're buying it differently, or they're not paying as much. And that will happen to accountants. It'll happen to radiologists. It will, like, in some form or fashion, this technology will impact everybody, because what it's doing is it's making the predictions cheaper. But here's the thing, kind of to your point. Do you have the judgment or context? Do you understand the limitations of the machine? Do you know where the machine has a blind spot and goes wrong to actually act on that prediction, right?
Yeah.
No, I think it makes much more sense for those tools to be in the hands of the experienced person to leverage their time to say, yeah, that's a solid recommendation. That's a solid choice. Or so I used the medical, and I've been using this for the last 2 years. Is it, WebMD is going to eventually have some diagnostic AI tool, or somebody like them, where you can upload your blood results and your radiology reports and all of this stuff and say, give me a diagnosis. And it will be at least, if not better, than the diagnosis of a physician. However, are you going to say, oh, well, shit, I've got cancer. I need to go schedule chemotherapy? Like, no, you're not going to do that without involving a human, right?
Yeah.
That's the judgment part. And what I see out there with, specifically in the creatives, is this paradigm. So I think most creativity is involved in marketing somehow, in the business world, right? Like it's somehow involved in the marketing. And so all of this is shifting from the top down, and people are like, well, I don't need to hire a designer, the business owner. I can just use AI to do the design. I can do the thumbnails, whatever. But here's the thing that they don't know. Should they even be designing thumbnails in the first place? And what does a good thumbnail look like? Because all AI does, and all it ever can do, is drive to the mean. It's only going to give you the average. It's never going to produce anything good.
Nothing exceptional.
No.
Nothing that stands out.
Yeah. And if good enough is good enough for you, then that may be good enough.
Right. Man, that's good. That's good. We've had this conversation too before we started recording about an AI strategy, and I think when we're having a conversation around, AI replacing us, whether it be on purpose or accidental or fearful or hopeful or whatever the psychology behind that might be, I do think it's important, and obviously you do too at the core group. It's important to kind of have your here's who we are going to be when it comes to AI, because it is such a, it's such a topic. It's such a thing. Originality is such a thing. Great versus good is such a thing. Customer service, good service is such a thing. So talk to me about the evolution of the AI strategy that you guys have been working through, and what are some of the conclusions that you're coming to about how it's going to, what its role is going to be at Core Group?
So we I don't think have finished our AI strategy. I think that's part of the rock that we're working on that we'll have completed by next month, but we're pretty far along with it. And doing exactly what you said, like defining how we're going to use AI as an organization, which would include things like, what are we willing to let it do versus what we don't want it to do?
Yeah.
That, like, what are we comfortable as far as its capacities? Structural things like integrity of client data, like not exposing client data to the world, because that's one of the other things people don't really talk about, is that the bad actors are using AI in a nefarious way to steal shit, like in ways that we never contemplated. And it's. I was reading one article, like the average of a software. I don't know what's the term they use, but like, what's the word? It's like an exposure, not an exposure, like a gap, where vulnerability. Okay. So whether it's a website or a software, like any software vulnerability, on average, it used to take the bad actors 700 days, 2 years, to figure out how to exploit it. That time is now down to 26 days. Like, so there's a glitch in the software and the security somewhere. It doesn't take them a month to figure out how to exploit it. So as far as what your intellectual property is, what you keep internally, and for us, our client data, that's a huge thing that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, like how to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And where we've started with the team is what is interesting also is the younger people in our organization are the most resistant to it. And
do you think it's because they believe it's coming for their job?
I think there's an element of that. I think there's an element of there's a strong pushback, from the environmental impact and a lot of, of those factors. But what we've asked the team to do is just explore the possibilities. Like, pick a problem, see if it can fix it. Not to necessarily solve the problem. Like, it might not be able to solve the problem, but like just see what the capacity is. Kind of like what I did with the Delphi. Just play around with it, get in the sandbox and play with it.